Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. And is Rassie Erasmus trying to force a late change out of France? Lots of mind games and a very interesting tweet from your Springbok head coach as he basically tweeted what the Springboks have predicted as the French side less than an hour before the French officially named their side, which is said to be announced about 12 o'clock, which is in about 20 minutes odd from when we're recording this. And Rassie Erasmus has dropped onto Twitter the French side they're expecting and has said as follows, basically saying, might have a few wrong, but whoever France pick in the 23, it'll be a massive team and clash. And we saw this happen during the World Cup where he tried to sort of predict teams. And a lot of people sort of read quite into it, to be honest, and said, is it a case of them trying to force a potential change? Is it a case of them trying to give some second guesses about the team they've picked? Are they trying to almost imply that they're quite predictable, for example, or that they know exactly what's coming for it? And there's a lot of different sort of ways you can jump into it, but it's quite fun because we're going to have a look at the team very quickly. And when France do release their side, we're going to actually have something that we can then actually refer to and see how close the Springboks got to. In fact, I heard that Rassie jumped onto mypicks.app and actually predicted this French side and has got his own profile over there. So this is what Rassie is predicting for the French side. And what's interesting as well is that they've put the age, caps, and the weight. And what they've also done when he posted the photo is that obviously this is how they do it with regards to their team selection. So he's left the Springboks one blank, obviously, because we haven't actually announced it yet, but I'm really hoping that he does us all the favor and goes and puts the Springbok side or puts the version that has the Springbok side out on Twitter as well. But in terms of what he's expecting from France, this is it. So he's expecting the quite inexperienced front row in Idiochi and Baptiste to as well as Montaigne Regis to start, and he's backing the only person really with any sort of experience is Aldegheri off the bench. So it's very new and inexperienced props for France. He's going with Julien Marchand in the number 2 jersey with 45 caps. But the big thing is look at the sort of the weight there. And that'll be interesting to see when we look at the Springbok side is how they kind of compare. Is it going to be, for example, Bone Fenter up against the 130 kg, quite literally named Mountain? In terms of the locks, for example, expecting to see the massive Miafu, Emmanuel Miafu and Thibaut Flamand in that second row, 145 kgs, 116 kgs. That could also be an indication, when you're kind of just looking at matchups, to maybe look at, for example, maybe a Lua Diaga ahead of a Ruan Nokia. They're predicting Anthony Gelange, Paul Boudinot, and Michael Juilliard in that back row with, again, all over 100 kgs, for example, looking at the amount of caps. And in fact, they've basically said the average age of the French sides can be around 27, also around 27 caps. But the big thing is the average weight of about 107 as well. So, how much of this are they taking into consideration? The fact that it does look a pretty large pack from the French. They're anticipating a Nolan de Garrick and Gael Ficou halfback pairing, which I think is pretty close. They're also reckoning it's going to be Pierre Louis Barassi and Leo Biabari and Pierre Louis Barassi as the 2 wings. A centre pairing of Gael Ficou and at inside centre, and Barassi at outside centre, and then Thomas Ramar at 15, which we kind of almost also basically kind of predicting. And then the bench, obviously they've added something like a Romain Tafa-Fanua, Majid Botera, for example, Maxime Luchu. So it's an interesting to sort of see how they've gone and put this out there, and this is kind of what they're planning for. I'm very keen to see how close they do get, to be honest, and whether they have predicted this right. For example, are France this predictable? And what is the purpose, really? Is this just to create a bit of doubt? Is this trying to create a bit of hype? Is this providing a bit of insight as to how they're looking at the side itself, and how they're sort of planning up the matchups, for example? And it will be interesting to see, we can actually basically go and fill this in when we get to the Springbok side, how much they have picked, the Boks have picked for what's ahead of them versus how much the Boks are picking in terms of what they want and what they believe their best side is for this game. How much are they picking based on France versus how much are they picking based on this is us, this is our team, and we're going to go with it, and not really worry so much about what France has put out. And I'll be very keen to see what the total caps and the age, for example, from the Springboks. I anticipate a higher average age from the Boks, probably close to 28, 29. maybe even 30 will be my guess. But total caps, probably quite a lot, to be honest. We're usually averaging north of 30, 40. You take away, if there's no Ethan Hooker, for example, and there's no, obviously, Bowen Fenton and Oxen Chair is a big cap difference, but Ethan Hooker's not got that many cap compared to like Kurt Lawrence coming in, for example. If you have a Hodge Pollard coming in, that's a lot of caps. If you keep Jason Creel, Damon Lindy versus a Andre Esterhazy and Kanan Moody combo. But it'll be interesting to sort of see how they do sort of stack up and weigh up against each other. So the question is, how close do you think this is to the French side? And what do you think the reason is for putting this video out? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.